Hey people, it is the 17th of August on a Sunday late afternoon, 5:17 p.m. And I'm standing here on the corner of Queen Street West and Bathurst Street on a not too hot Sunday, thankfully. It's only around 23 or 24 degrees with some humidity, but definitely much more cool and comfortable than it has been for much of the summer, to be honest. So I'm out taking in some of these tolerable temperatures and walking around town, recording some videos, and I thought today I would check out the Alexandra Park area here. This is a neighborhood bounded by Bathurst Street on the west, Queen Street on the south, Dundas on the north, and Spadina on the east. So we're currently walking north on Bathurst. And this is a very old neighborhood with many of the old homes dating back to the 19th century. Sort of on the western edge of downtown, but it's also home to a very well-known and somewhat infamous housing project that goes by the same name, Alexandra Park, and also a city park up ahead that's also called Alexandra Park. So maybe I'll take a walk through the park and start making my way into some of the streets of the neighborhood, including walking through the old housing project area, which is now undergoing redevelopment. So a lot of the old buildings dating back to the 1960s, when the housing project was first developed, are being torn down and replaced with new housing. And they're also trying to reintegrate the street grid through the area, which was broken up when they built the housing project. So I think in the future we'll see streets like Augusta Avenue reconnected for the first time in over 50 years. And some of the new buildings have already been built, going several years back. Others are currently under construction. And this stretch of Bathurst is a bit on the gritty side, but I like it. The other side of the street is technically outside of the neighborhood, but it's sort of in keeping with what you'll find within the neighborhood also, in terms of the old housing stock. You could say this is sort of like the west side version of Regent Park, which is another housing project on the east side of downtown, which is also undergoing redevelopment in a similar manner. All right, let's walk through the park. This park was also recently home to a large encampment, which was sort of situated here for at least 2 or 3 years. I think it was cleared out once or twice, but it kept reappearing. But it seems it hasn't reappeared now since the last time it was cleared out. And the Toronto police were quite aggressive, according to some people, in how they went about it, but I wasn't there. You can't deny the park looks nice now. Seems decently busy. There's a skateboard park over there as well, and a skating rink in the winter. There's also a pool for the neighborhood right over here, which seems to be in use right now. I think this is the nicest the park has ever looked in all my walks through this area. The neighborhood itself is over here. I don't know if I can get through that fence over there. I see people walking. There's the pool. There's a neighborhood school over here. Maybe these people know something I don't know. If you keep walking that way, you'll come upon Dundas Street, which is the northern boundary of the neighborhood. Oh, it looks like you can squeeze through the fence over here. Okay. Let's do it. Let's follow a local. Not in a creepy way, though. Oh yeah, it's actually a intentional opening here. The old part of the school building. Looks like it's had a few additions added on over the years. Ryerson Public School. I wonder if they're planning on changing the name of this school. They've already changed the name of Ryerson University. It's now Toronto Metropolitan University. Maybe they can call this Toronto Downtown School. I kid. Here's some of the new buildings that they've constructed. So they tore down some of the old projects and erected those. Ouch, that is painful on the ear. Here's Denison Avenue. I think that's named after one of the landowners in the area going back to the early days of the development of the neighborhood. I'm not sure if I'll be able to access into the heart of the neighborhood from Denison, but let's check it out. There might be a path. Hopefully I don't have to go all the way down to Queen Street. I think there's at least one cross street. I didn't really consult my map too closely before making this video. I don't really do that for many of my videos. I just sort of wing it most of the time and use my established knowledge. Sometimes it fails me, sometimes it doesn't. But I wanted to show some of the old housing stock in the neighborhood before we go into the projects, which obviously are a lot newer, although they're quite old now, as I mentioned. It's funny how these homes, which date back to the 19th century in many cases, are outlasting the buildings that were built in the 1960s, which are now being torn down and replaced. I don't think any of these will be torn down and replaced. There's a cute little apartment building here. I like it. Got lots of mature trees here. All right, Randy Padmore Park. It looks like I can go into the other part of Alexandra Park through here. There's the Atkinson Housing Co-op. I think that was built in an effort to revitalize the neighborhood a bit after it started becoming a hotbed of crime. And I think it's been a mostly successful development here, the Atkinson Co-op. The contrast between the old 19th century style homes and some of the brand new ones. These were just built in the last 10 years or so as part of the redevelopment. And you can see another new one looming behind. This is starting to look a bit old and worse for wear now also. It's been here for quite a long time. Not sure how I feel about the design of some of these new buildings. Some of them are okay, some of them are a bit questionable. Here's some of the old project buildings here. These are what are being demolished section by section. I did a previous walkthrough here, a couple of years back, I think. And even back then, there were lots of boarded up units awaiting demolition. I think some had been demolished since then, but I think some are just still waiting. There's a way down to Queen Street. You can see the well looming in the distance there. These ones are quite nice though, these townhouses, 3-story townhouses. You can see some of these are boarded up over here. Oops, I guess I can go through here. And if you pay attention to the local news, you might have heard that there was a bit of a gang war going on between Alexandra Park and Regent Park. think it's a lot better now than it used to be, though, in terms of gang activity and that sort of thing. It still happens, though. You still hear things occurring right up to recent times. These look like they're all ready to be demolished, although you still see curtains in some of these. And air conditioners, which seem to be in good condition. So some of these seem to maybe be occupied, others not. It's kind of hard to tell. I think these are mostly still occupied here, until you see one that has boarded up windows. And you can see it's a bit worse for wear looking inside here. There's some of the new buildings in the distance. And you can see what I mean by the street grid being interrupted here and replaced by all these walkways here. I'm sure the intentions were good, but I think it sort of backfired. It just made for secluded spots, sort of cut off from the rest of the surrounding city. People could maybe do things sight unseen, right? This looks all fairly abandoned. The community center. And that's Spadina Avenue, just to the east. There's some laneways. Let's see, people can get into the neighborhood through various walkways through here. And of course, it's quite multicultural, as are most neighborhoods like this in Toronto. And we're obviously right on the edge of Chinatown here. Literally just right beside me are the backsides of buildings running along Spadina in Chinatown. Got a playground over here. I think this area we're looking at across the park here might still be, well, maybe not. I still see some boarded up buildings. Yeah, it seems a bit hit and miss. Some look occupied, some don't. Like here, these ones seem occupied. But right here, boarded up windows right next door. This will all be gone though eventually. I think it'll be a mix of different building styles, high-rise, mid-rise, some condo, some rental, and some rent geared to income. Where does this go? I don't know if I can get back out without going back over to Spadina again. Well, this is a more thorough walkthrough than I did in my previous video. Glad to get all this on video before it is demolished. I did the same thing with Regent Park. I think the Regent Park redevelopment might be a bit more high density in nature. Many more tall towers are being built there. Whereas here I think it's going to be mid-rise, or just shorter high-rises. Maybe 15 or so floors for the taller ones. Okay, back to where I was before here. It's like a maze in here. Is this a walkway? Well, I didn't go this way. I think I'm going to be spit back out onto Dundas Street, whether I want to or not. And we'll stay sort of within the neighborhood here, but there's Dundas Street. We got Kensington Market literally right across the street, where it sort of blends into Chinatown along Dundas. It's like an occupied unit beside a boarded up unit again. Just curious to see where I'll get to if I keep heading this way. Interesting. All right, well, I guess at Dundas Street it is. I don't want to end up back in that same spot again. I think there are a couple sections I didn't walk through due to getting caught in a loop. And I know there are a couple of streets leading down to Queen from within Alexandra Park. Other than Denison, which I didn't really come upon those other streets. We're in Chinatown.
No. Do not in my eyes. Thank you guys for doing this.
And then one tip, right?
Busy, busy. All right. I'm just going to head back towards the neighborhood here. Got a pretty good fire escape there. Oh, it's not a very pretty sight right there. And I was here before, and then I ended up getting moved around like a rat in the maze. Okay, here's a map. That's quite handy. Pauline Gardens. Let's see if I can get over to Augusta Avenue following this walkway here. Ooh, the sun. And I'm back here again. This is the third time I've been in this part of the neighborhood. They have a jack-o'-lantern there. And there's Augusta. And they'll take us down to Queen. That way we can say we've seen all 4 streets bordering the neighborhood. Bathurst, Dundas, Spadina, and Queen. But yeah, Augusta is being reconnected, I think, eventually. So you can walk directly into Kensington Market. Nice old row houses here. And new row houses across the street, or townhouses, I suppose. I prefer the old ones. It's like the landmark of the neighborhood. I think it's a home for wayward youth or something to that effect. I might be mistaken. Got live music coming from over there. And live music right here too. And Queen Street. The sun has come out from behind the clouds once again. So this is the southern boundary of Alexandra Park. And as I make my way east, I'm going to start to wrap up the video. I hope you enjoyed my little tour around the Alexandra Park neighborhood. It was a bit unplanned, a bit wandering in nature. We did walk through at least one area 3 different times, but I think we saw quite a bit of the neighborhood. And I hope you found it informative. So leave a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store, or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member, or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram also under KContinuum. So thanks for watching. Well, I wasn't expecting that voice to come out of that guy. Thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members. And be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue